Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a truly brilliant digital resilience infrastructure, one that keeps communities connected even when the world goes completely dark. You know, we take our digital lives completely for granted. Think about it for a second. Almost every single thing we do relies entirely on the invisible thread of the internet. Our navigation, our banking, how we talk to our families, all of it depends on that continuous connection. But today, we're looking at a system designed specifically for the exact moment we lose the one thing we rely on the most.
Okay, let's dive into this by picturing a scenario. Imagine a massive typhoon just hit your neighborhood. The winds are literally howling outside your window, the power grid snaps, and your phone screen suddenly shows those three dreaded words, no cell service. Look, this happens all the time in disaster-prone areas. Right at the very second you desperately need to call for rescue, coordinate with your neighbors, or just check to make sure your loved ones are safe, the cloud completely vanishes, and you're left completely isolated.
Section 1. When the internet fails. System vulnerability. We're exploring the core vulnerability of modern emergency systems. They all rely on the deeply fragile assumption that the internet will just always be there.
When the cloud goes down, absolute chaos usually follows. People are just left staring at their screens, holding on to scattered text messages that simply won't send. There's no structured way to coordinate local rescues, and local leaders, well, they're suddenly flying blind. Without a digital connection, people are often forced to resort to shouting in flooded streets, or walking miles through really dangerous conditions to a local barangay hall just to get help. The community is left without a single local digital front desk, and that means there's a massive, life-threatening gap between the people who desperately need assistance and the people who are trying to provide it.
Section 2. Offline Local Lifeline, Project Bantay Bayan. This represents a massive paradigm shift. We're looking at a Philippine-built platform that doesn't just cross its fingers and hope the internet comes back online.
The secret sauce making this all possible is called the local node. Instead of bouncing your emergency signals to a server thousands of miles away in some remote data center, Project Bantay Bayan, or PBB, creates a resilient digital hub right in the local neighborhood. It runs its own local Wi-Fi network. Think of it as a miniature, localized internet bubble. That means all the essential applications, emergency reporting, community chat, local maps, they're all hosted right there on the street level. As long as you can connect to that local Wi-Fi signal, the entire system functions perfectly without needing a single drop of outside internet access.
Think of the contrast like this. Standard cloud apps, like your favorite social media or messaging tools, are basically cars on a major highway. When the main bridge collapses during a storm, all traffic immediately stops. They become completely useless the second the undersea cables or cell towers fail. But the PBB infrastructure, it's like a dedicated local bike path. It keeps the entire neighborhood moving and communicating even when the main highway is totally destroyed. It's essentially a local intranet that keeps essential public services alive and kicking, totally isolated from the chaos happening to the broader internet.
Section 3. Building daily habit, everyday resilience. Here's the absolute genius Trojan horse psychology of PBB.
An emergency system is completely useless if people only try to use it during a panic. If a community has a special app that they're only supposed to open during a Category 5 hurricane, they're not going to know how to navigate it, they're going to forget their passwords, and the system will inevitably fail. To build that crucial muscle memory, PBB provides daily modules. It gives citizens a really compelling reason to connect to the local network on sunny days. We're talking local community chat rooms and official neighborhood announcements. But it goes way deeper. Why include maternal health scheduling? Because it brings mothers and families onto the platform to manage their clinic visits. Why offline educational modules and local games? Because it ensures the youth are actively engaging with the network. It turns an emergency tool into a vibrant daily community hub, proving its immense overall value to the community long before a storm ever forms.
Section 4. A day in the life, continuous routine. Let's take these concepts out of the abstract and see how this builds a continuous resilience routine for a real community.
Let's follow a typical day. Morning hits, and a mother named Maria connects to the local PBB Wi-Fi without using a single byte of her paid mobile data, just to check her kid's vaccination schedule at the local clinic. In the afternoon, a student named Ryan logs on to play offline educational games and read the latest community announcements. By doing these simple, everyday actions, the community is subconsciously learning exactly how to navigate the network. So when the storm hits that evening and the outside internet completely drops, Maria and Ryan already know exactly where to go to use the local emergency chat. They don't have to learn a whole new system in the dark.
Section 5. Emergency Priority Mode. Degrading gracefully. So the crucial point here is what happens when that sunny day suddenly turns into a severe emergency and the internet just flatlines.
How does a system handling daily games and health schedules suddenly pivot to saving lives?
Well, PVB degrades gracefully, and the brilliance is that it happens entirely automatically. In the middle of a disaster, local leaders do not have the time to manually turn off servers or block games to save bandwidth. The architecture inherently separates the daily apps from the critical emergency servers. So when emergency mode is activated, it just automatically pauses those non-essential games. Entertainment shifts into an advisory-only mode, displaying emergency checklists. This guarantees that the emergency hotline, the operator dashboards, and those crucial local offline maps get maximum priority and system resources.
And here is how that emergency flow actually works entirely offline. Step 1. A citizen uses their phone to connect to the local PVB Wi-Fi and submits a structured report. Step 2. A local operator, let's call him June, receives this report on his dashboard, sees the exact location on a local map, and dispatches a rescue team. Step 3. What about the city or national government once the storm passes? Well, PBB uses a brilliant store and forward sync. It safely stores all these local reports, and the literal second the internet connection flickers back to life, it automatically syncs all that critical data upstream to higher command. Remember that fragmented reporting problem we talked about earlier? This completely eliminates it. Nothing is lost, creating a perfect closed loop of information.
Section 6. Community Readiness, Digital Resilience. This brings us to the profound overall value this offers to local government units, community organizations, and decision-makers.
It's really vital to understand that PBB isn't just some tech gadget you abandon in a closet and hope still works a year later. Instead, PBB is designed as a software-first, managed digital resilience utility. It's an ongoing, supported community asset. It guarantees peace of mind by ensuring your local digital ecosystem is updated, maintained, and absolutely, unconditionally ready to save lives when the critical moment finally arrives.
I want to highlight a quote from the foundational material that I just love. PBB earns its value by being useful before an emergency, reliable during an emergency, and still relevant after the emergency. This perfectly captures the whole mission. By making this system a daily habit, for health, for learning, for communication, the community is fully prepared for their darkest hours. It removes the panic of the unknown, simply because the lifeline is already tightly woven right into the fabric of their daily routine. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought, especially for the local officials and decision-makers out there listening. What is the true risk of lacking a maintained, local digital lifeline? When the next storm hits and all the screens go dark, how will your neighborhood survive the silence? The technology exists right now to prevent this kind of isolation. The only question left is, what is the very first step you're going to take tomorrow to ensure your community is never left in the dark again? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay resilient.